Hey guys, welcome back to this week's price action levels review, 12th of Jan to 16th of Jan. Starting off with NZDUSD, I said last week about the level 76.92, where in fact we did see a bounce with this pin bar just here, and that would have been your entry signal, so hopefully a few of you got into that. That's now bounced back up to this previous resistance level just here, so I'm going to mark that in now. It's just here where we are right now. Look, you can see this previous resistance. Now if we get another bearish candlestick, then expect this to travel back down. Why wouldn't it? It's in a range here. Wait to see the bearish candlestick before taking the trade. If it breaks through here, then obviously it's not going to go down, it's going to go up. And wait for a retest before going long. The next level above that, if you wanted to look for perhaps short positions further up, is going to be somewhere in this range just here. Probably around 79.60. So that's NZDUSD. Watch it where we are now. Next couple of days, see if we get a bearish candlestick to signal more downward action, or if we break, then look a bit higher up around 79.60 to also go short. EURUSD still dropping, still going down. We got a bit of a bounce here. There was NFP on Friday, which you'd have expected that to have driven this down a bit further because the news actually was a little bit better on the US side. But anyway, we're seeing a little bit of a bounce here back up to possibly 180, 171. So if we see a rejection at this level, 118.71, followed by a bearish candlestick, then look to trade that back down to the short side, continuing short. But to really get a bigger view of this, we need to switch on to a larger time frame, onto the monthly, because this is down, as you can see. Let me just move that arrow out of the way. It is down at this low level here, where it showed previous support over the months. So watch out for, bullish candlesticks out of here on the higher time frame charts, on the weekly or the monthly, to guide you into a trade here. Don't try going long on this at the moment. You can see how bearish this is. It's absolutely crazy right now. And we've got all the Greek news as well again coming through, where they're talking about leaving the euro. Whether or not they will, I don't know, but that's another catalyst that's driving this down. You've also got Draghi talking about QE again on the euro, so be very careful with this, and I would only really be looking to the short side, but you've got to find your your spot to trade this short. So if you see a bearish candlestick on the daily in the next couple of days, then you could very well trade this and keep trading it down short. But as I said, as I showed you just then, we are coming down to a all-time low on this pair. On GBPUSD, I'd be inclined to just sit back and watch this one for now. It looks similar to EURUSD. We have had this this bullish hammer just here in the middle of nowhere, around the 150.85 level, which has produced a bullish candlestick after it. Whether or not it's strong enough to actually force its way back up, I don't know, and you just got to watch this to find out. What I will say to you is, if you look at this on the monthly, you will see the reaction that happened at 149.28. All these pin bars here when it hit this level. So if it does drop rather rapidly down to this level and sits around here, then imagine that if we see similar candlesticks to this, then we may get a bounce out of here. So look for bullish candlesticks and pin bars at the 149.28 level. But right now, in the interim, I would just watch this one and see what happens with it before jumping in on it. On EURJPY, here was the level we left you with last week, 143.38. You see here the previous resistance, and we were looking for this level here to turn into support to signal us another bounce. It didn't happen. You can see here that the candlestick just broke all the way through it. So that's, you don't take the long trade because there was no bullish candlestick to give you any form of indication that it was going to reverse and go higher. So on this one, your next sort of levels that you've got to be looking at, you see it broke that level there. So you've got to move down again. possibly this level here, where we are now, around the 140 level, 139. Look for a bullish candlestick here to possibly signal that back up. That in fact looks like a Fibonacci level as well. Yeah, it does look. It's 61.8. So pay attention to the 140 level on EURJPY on the daily. See if we get a nice bullish candlestick to signal this to continue its upward trend. On GBPJPY, again here I've left last week's setup for you. You can see we actually were looking in two places. We were looking at 184.09 just here, and we're also looking at 181.76, and you can see it crashed down through both of those levels. So those levels are out. There was no bullish candlesticks there to guide us back in. So the next one I can see is probably just here, close to where we are now, 178.41. Let me just zoom out on that a little bit. Just see, see if we've got anything else in there. To the left. Yeah, you see on the monthly, this was a supporting level. It was a resistance level as well, and then a supporting level. So stands to reason that if we come back down to this spot here, if you see a bullish candlestick, then trade it back up. You just got to watch this one. It's a GBP pair, and GBP has been quite bearish last week. So keep an eye on this at this level, bullish candlestick, then trade it long, aiming back up here. So on GBPJPY, the level to watch is 178.41. On EURNZD, this was our level just here. Look at 154, and it broke that. This was brutal last week, EURNZD, which it normally is actually. It's quite a brutal pair to actually try and trade. But if I was to be looking to trade this, then look down here at 149.92 or the 150 level. Keep an eye on that and see if you get a bullish candlestick up out of here. See if it actually signals the reverse on this one. But you've got to be a bit careful with this. Try to trade it with small stops, because or relatively small stops, because it can be quite a brute. You know, the daily moves can be quite large on it. If we break under this level here at 150, then see if you can get in on a lower time frame rebound, perhaps a 4-hour rebound back up to the 150 level to show you a bearish candlestick to continue trading this short. But EURNZD on the daily, a bit like the pound, keep an eye on it. Don't go jumping in on this one just yet. On EURAUD, here was last week's setup, 146.43. As you can see, this again, it blasted down through it, didn't stop it. Bit of a kind of a bullish candlestick there, but it didn't hold it. This was your previous resistance, expecting it to turn into some sort of support, and it didn't, so it's continued on down. So what we need to do is just move that down there, and then obviously your next level you want to be paying attention to is just here, 142.33. So that's your next level to look for. You can see here it had support. So if we come down here, we see support again, followed by a bullish candlestick, then look to trade this long. Want to break underneath it, look for it to break it, retest it, and then trade it down to, probably down to this level here, 137.93, 138 level, possibly down to there. That's going to be your target if you're trading this on the daily. But this is a spot you need to be watching on EURAUD, just down here at 142.33. So here's a look at the news list for next week, just the red tier 1 news. And you can see there isn't that much. There's obviously some red news, but there's always red news floating around. It is basically the standard stuff. Last week was quite unusual with all the interest rate announcements and also the NFP as well. But next week looks a little bit quieter, so maybe a little bit more predictable on the markets. So you don't need to be so careful next week with your trading, as there is news, but it's not as hard hitting as it was last week. However, do keep an ear out for news about Greece and also news from the Eurozone about possible quantitative easing, because that will definitely move the euro pairs around. So just keep an eye out for those, or an ear out for those. So that's it for this week's look at our price action levels. As usual, if you like what we do here, please send us a message, tick the like box, or subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week.